Okay, so today we're doing a journal request. This is Help a B2B Writer. It's probably the best journal request for B2B stuff at the moment. Anyway, so it's top book recommendations for entrepreneurs who want to master communications and PR. PRontheGo.com. So it says PR and growth experts. We're compiling expert recommended books, including classic reads to inspire and educate entrepreneurs. Please provide your top book recommendation for entrepreneurs to master communications and PR. Give a brief overview of the importance of communication and PR in entrepreneurial success. Name the book author and criteria, practical advice, relevance, and enduring value for classics. And it's a key takeaway for entrepreneurs. Okay. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to Google best books on PR for entrepreneurs. Now, I think the key here is to pitch a book that not everyone else is pitching. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. I'll do that. That one I've heard of. Ooh. Okay, so nothing that interesting there. That was also published in 2021. Reddit could be good for stuff like this. Any modern PR books, unemployed in a funny position. Absolutely, you don't read these old PR books that still try and say pitch every journal stuff. Very cool. Public relations and contemporary issues and techniques by Paul Baines. This one's quite a famous one, Trust Me, I'm Lying. And there's also like Confessions of a Media Manipulator, which I actually think might be the same book. Spin sucks. Contagious, why things catch on. I know someone who has written an article on this is Stacey McNaught, who, if you see any of my other videos, you'll know that I like her. So let's see what she has to say. 6 best books on marketing I've ever read. Need to stick. This is also kind of a classic one. Influence, like everyone's going to say that one. Since I Heath, of course, the confirmation making numbers count. Okay, I like the idea of this one because this is about a very specific thing, which is about sort of database PR, which is very trendy at the moment. So I think that I'm going to go for this one. Next thing I'm going to do is just check Heath making numbers count. So I've chosen the book. Now I just need to sort of bullshit my way through the idea that I've read this book. So I'm going to click that. Just going to make numbers key takeaways. Okay. Numbers and data. Yeah, so it's sort of about how to turn dry data into headline-worthy data, I guess. Using numbers to build into our model analytics. Use unfamiliar statistics, some landmarks. Okay. So with help of B2B writer, this is the link that you want to email. What was it called? Making numbers count, the art and science of communicating numbers. It's kind of long, but I'm going to do Chip Heath's making numbers count. That's better. So, classics reads to inspire and educate entrepreneurs. Please provide your top book recommendation for entrepreneurs to master communications and PR. Is it too specific, this one? So this is kind of like an advanced one. Maybe the other one of like made to stick. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pitch, because I think a lot of people are going to pitch made to stick. I'm going to pitch making numbers count. And I'm going to sort of piggyback off made to stick. So I'm going to be like, the same guy who wrote made to stick also wrote making numbers count. And this is specifically about creating sticky data. And then I'm going to say like journalists, I'm going to say like the current vogue in PR is data studies. So if you want to get into creating data studies to pitch to journalists, then this is the made to stick, but for data. Okay. So I'm going to try and say that in 100 to 200 words. So what's this person's name? Hi, Melanie. Hi, Melanie. I'm writing in response to your request for PR professionals to talk about, to recommend PR books for entrepreneurs. Quick intro. My name is Sacha Fournier, and I am PR professional with 6 years experience and the co-founder of journalist database Journo Finder. Make it easy to link to them, because that's what we want at the end of the day. In response to your question, inspire and educate entrepreneurs. So, Heath and Karla Starr. Making numbers count. The art and science of communicating. Okay, so for entrepreneurs to master communications, give a brief overview of the importance of Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say what the book is about. Then I'm going to say why it ties into PR. And then I'm going to say whether it offers practical advice, relevance, and enduring value. Okay. So I'm actually not going to do that. I want it to be more copy and pasteable. I was going to sort of do like a little note. Maybe I'll do that at the beginning. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to write it here. So I'm sure you've been recommended Chip Heath's Chip and Dan Heath's Chip and Dan Heath's Made to Stick a lot, but I'm going to recommend Chip Heath's follow-up book, Making Numbers Count. which is specifically about communicating numbers, figures and data. Figures, stats and data. Okay, so that's like a sort of, I think this you've been recommended. This kind of, I think this just adds an extra layer of interestingness to the pitch, which I just quite like. Like, not a lot of people, other people are going to say it. So it's been, the art and science of communicating. Okay, cool. So making numbers count. Explained to entrepreneurs how to make seemingly dry numerical data interesting and newsworthy. The book discusses techniques on how to make large interesting and newsworthy. Really, particularly focuses on how you can make large numbers understandable by framing. Sorry, it particularly focuses on how you can use data to elicit emotions in people and how you can turn numbers into stories. One of the big vogues in PR at the moment is data journalism. with journalists and editors, particularly looking to communications professionals to provide original data and statistics, making numbers count teaches you how to make data palatable to those who want to turn it into stories. So am I actually answering the question here? So PR and growth experts, we're compiling expert recommended books, including classic reads to inspire and educate entrepreneurs. Please provide your top book recommendation for entrepreneurs to master communications and PR. Please give a brief overview of the importance of communication and PR and entrepreneurial success. That's the bit that's kind of throwing me, is like I don't see how this is relevant to anything else. Anyway, so I've got 100 to 200 words. So let's see how many words we used here. Wordcounter.net. 82. So I've still got a lot of words to play with. Making numbers count explains. I'm just going to delete that. Explains how to make seemingly dry numerical data interesting and newsworthy. Numbers into stories. An example of this given in the book was comparing Fortune 500 CEOs' salaries to their company's median salary. CEO to median salary. I know that's like a thing. This CEO pay ratio has now become a standard yardstick to measure pay inequalities within companies. With organizations bragging about reducing this ratio. So there we've got an example. Leads to list emotions. How to make abstract numerical data interesting, newsworthy is not a great word here, interesting and understandable. Particularly focus on how you can use data to list emotions in people, and how you can turn numbers into stories. An example given in the book was comparing Fortune 500 CEO salaries to their company's median salary. The CEO pay ratio has now become a standard yardstick to measure pay inequalities within companies. Measure tarianism within companies. When companies use demonstrating that they have reduced this ratio is an easy route to good publicity. Journalists are increasingly looking for sources to provide data their stories, and making numbers count. Gives you techniques to create a newsworthy story out of pretty much any numerical data set. So I've still got 80 words left. Name the recommended book and author, criteria for selection, practical advice, relevance. It's a key takeaway for entrepreneurs. The book's key takeaway is to always ground numbers within scales that people understand. that people understand. Key takeaway of this book is that you'll always find numbers within scales that people understand. If a number, especially a large number, is not rounded in this way, it is essentially meaningless. Okay, so I think the weakness of this is that I think I could do more about, I could just making numbers count, the art and science of communicating with Chip, Heath, Karla, Starr. Making numbers count explains how to make abstract numerical data understandable and engaging. It focuses on doing this in two ways. One, grounding larger numbers within concepts that people understand. An example of this from the book is rather than saying India is 3.5 million square kilometers. Is 1.3 million square. We say that India is 6 times the size of Texas. 2. Using numbers to elicit emotions. Example the book gives of using numbers to elicit feelings of injustice was comparing Fortune 500 CEO salaries to their company's to their company's median salary. Senior ratio has now become the yardstick to measure egalitarianism in companies. Companies demonstrating that they've reduced this ratio companies simply saying that a company's median salary has increased does not carry the same emotional weight. So I've got about 90 words to work with. Since we are living in a world where stakeholders, both internally and externally, want everything to be backed in data, learning how to communicate data effectively is vital to any entrepreneur's toolkit. Making numbers count is the best guide to this that I have read. Okay, and then I'm going to give read. Okay, so they're asking for it to be like a specific criteria, so practical advice, relevance, enduring value. It's a key takeaway from entrepreneurs. So this makes making numbers count the most relevant book on communications right now. So she's asking for 150 to 200 words. So that's 177 words. That's perfect. So details. Title, making numbers count. The art and science of communicating. Authors. Heath, Karla, Starr. Heath and Karla, Starr. Link. So No, was it simple? .com. Maybe I'll just go. Cool. Thanks for reading, Melanie. Here are my details. Name, Sacha Fournier, title, co-founder, company, no, kinda, just go like that, and then LinkedIn. Yeah, headshot, and I'll just add the headshot before I send it. So, hi Melanie, I'm writing in response for your request for PR professionals to recommend PR books for entrepreneurs. Quick intro, my name is Sacha Fournier and I'm a PR professional with 6 years experience and co-founder of Journalist Database Journal Finder. I'm sure you've been recommended Chip and Dan Heath's Made to Stick a lot. So I'm going to recommend Chip Heath's follow-up book, Making Numbers Count, which is specifically about communicating figures, stats, and data. This makes it particularly relevant to the current state of the communications industry. So I'm already saying that like relevance is the thing, because that's what she's looking for. Making Numbers Count, the art and science of communicating by Chip Heath and Karla Starr. Making Numbers Count explains how to make abstract numerical data understandable and engaging. It focuses on doing this in two ways. One, grounding larger numbers within concepts that people understand. An example of this is, rather than saying that India is 1.5 million square miles, you say that India is 6 times the size of Texas. Assuming your audience are familiar with Texas is geography, this makes explaining the size, the scale of the size of India. Assuming that your audience is familiar with Texas geography, this explanation illustrates India's sheer scale far more effectively than simply saying how large it is in square miles. Using numbers to elicit emotion. And an example the book gives of using numbers to elicit feelings of injustice was comparing Fortune 500 CEO salaries to their company's median salary. This CEO pay ratio has now become the standard yardstick to measure egalitarianism within companies. Companies often get good press by demonstrating they have reduced this ratio. I'm going to delete that bit because it kind of just repeats what I said before. Since we are living in a world where stakeholders, both internally and externally, want everything to be backed in data, knowing how to communicate data effectively is vital to any entrepreneurs toolkit. This makes making numbers count the most relevant book on communications right now, in my opinion. Okay, I will add the headshot off screen just to protect Sasha's privacy, but that's what I'm going to send. Yeah, and I think that's a decent answer. So if you enjoyed that video, you learned something, and you'd like to work with me, you can go to my website at olliebaysdigital.com or just Google Ollie Bays Digital, which is the name of this channel, and you will find me and you can find out more about me there, make an inquiry. If you want to just straight up email me, my email address is ollie, O-L-I, at olliebaysdigital.com. And if you just like the video but you don't really want to speak to me, fair enough, but please like, comment and subscribe.